morning and welcome to the Planning Hearing Officer's hearing for March 22nd, 2017. My name is Laura Stotler and I'm serving as Planning Hearing Officer today. We have one case and relevant exhibits posted on the panels located directly behind me. The agenda, staff reports, and recommendations for each of today's cases can be found on the city's website. A copy of the hearing procedures are available on the counter by the door next to the agendas, as are copies of the reports. If the evidence presented in the application and at the hearing meets the criteria, then the Planning Hearing Officer can either approve or impose conditions for approval on the case in question. If the findings of fact are not evidence, then the request will be denied. Today's case is an application for a density bonus housing plan to construct a 4-story, 18-unit affordable rental housing project with 3 concessions and 1 waiver pursuant to Government Code Section 65915 and Glendale Municipal Code Section 30.36, with 2 additional units being reserved for very low-income households located at 913921 South Adams Street in the R1650 medium high-density residential zone, described as lots 4, 5, and 6, Block B, tract number 5940 in the city of Glendale in the county of Los Angeles. Development of the project requires the demolition of 3 existing single-family residences and design review board approval. The project is exempt from CEQA as Class 32 infill development projects, exemption pursuant to California CEQA Guidelines Section 15332. I just really want to make this clear that the purpose of this hearing is when it's an affordable, it's a density bonus affordable housing based on the level of affordability. The applicant is allowed 3 concessions under state law. There's also asking for 1 waiver. That 1 waiver is in addition to the 3 concessions. So what I'm listening for today is, why is that waiver requested? And is that waiver requested to make a housing project affordable under state law? A waiver will be granted if it is necessary to make a housing project affordable. Hearings will proceed. Public notice. Notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners and occupants located within 500 feet of the subject property, physically posted on the site in question and placed in the local newspaper, and also posted on the city's website. The hearings will proceed as follows. I'll read a description of the requested entitlements. The case planner will make a brief overview of the case, give an analysis, and make a recommendation. The applicant will be asked to come forward, stating both name and address, and will be asked to present the case within a 15-minute time limit. Others in support of or in opposition to the application and interested parties will be asked to come forward to speak, stating both name and address with a 3-minute time limit. Lastly, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make closing comments if desired in response to testimonies given by preceding speakers within a 5-minute time limit. The hearing will be closed and the case taken under submission. After the hearing, a decision will be prepared in writing, will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at this hearing or by submitting written responses, and who have provided their name and mailing address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. However, if a decision is made at the hearing, the decision date will be today's date, and the 15-day appeal period, and these are calendar days, will start today. Under the appeal provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealable to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal may obtain forms and brochures on the procedures from the Permit Services Center located in room 101 of this building. We have speakers cards. They're in green. If you wish to speak, please write your name and address on one of the speaker forms, which have been provided by the front door and submitted to our planning assistant. I'd also like to inform everyone that the official proceedings of the hearing are being recorded as part of the public record. Okay, so for the first case, it's a density bonus housing plan, case PDBP 1529626, located at 913 to 921 South Adams Street. Applicant is LMA-2 LLC, and the staff is Chris Begdikian. This is an application for a density bonus housing plan to construct a new 4-story, 18-unit affordable rental housing projects with 3 concessions and 1 waiver pursuant to Government Code Section 65915 and Glendale Municipal Code Section 30.36, with 2 additional units being reserved for very low-income households. And with that, I would like to ask the case planner to please give us a presentation.
Okay, Ms. Stotler, thank you. I'll be brief. This proposal is for a density bonus housing plan to develop as you stated, an 18-unit affordable rental housing development. 2 of the 18 units would be reserved for very low-income households. The project site is located at 913 to 921 South Adams Street. It consists of 3 contiguous lots totaling just under 18,000 square feet. The applicant is requesting 3 concessions and a waiver from development standards. The 3 concessions are for an additional story. So where 3 stories would be allowed, the applicant is requesting a 4-story building and additional height from 36 feet overall height to 41 feet. The second concession is an increase in the allowable floor area ratio from 1.0 to 1.8. The third concession is an exemption from the interior setback standards. So setback standards would be reduced around the interior property lines. The waiver that's being asked for is to not provide the additional open space that gets triggered when the lot width exceeds 90 feet, which applies in this case. Based on this, staff has reviewed the project, and we've analyzed it based on the required findings, and it seems that the findings that are required can be made to provide or to allow the 3 concessions and the additional waiver that the applicant is asking for. Staff's recommendation is for approval with a number of conditions which are listed in the staff report. The project would still require approval by the Design Review Board should the density bonus housing plan is approved and not appealed. We received comments from the public. The comments are in the file, and I've made copies available to the applicant. One of the comments received was from the Historical Society regarding the historical aspect of the project. All the comments are in the case file and available to the hearing officer. Okay. With this, I'd like to conclude my presentation unless there are questions from the hearing officer.
No, and I see in the staff report that you have the reasons for the findings listed.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to verify that they are available in the staff report that was posted online and is available at the front desk here.
The findings are on page 6 in the staff report, and then on page 7 are the suggested draft conditions.
Okay. All right. Next, I'd like to call forward, the applicant. I have Armik Shahanazarians, followed by Michael Asadurian. And you have 15 minutes. I just want to let you know the applicant and the property owner, altogether you have 15 minutes.
Correct. Hi, my name is Armik Shahanazarian. I'm representing the property owners. I would like to get an extension of postpone this hearing to another date to clarify a few items.
Okay.
The main reason is I think the concession number 4, which we're requesting, we can meet very easily, and we don't have to apply for that concession.
Well, if you want concession number 4, you do have it in your letter. Do you want to read your letter that's been submitted here? Because it looks to me that you have reasons why you have it. I don't understand why you want to have, unless you're going to redesign your project, I don't understand why you would want to continue.
It's just minor redesign issue that it could be eliminated because it's roughly about 320 square feet that we're seeking, and that's only 18 square feet per unit that we can meet on rooftop very easily and eliminate all these concession process.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, are you intending to withdraw
Correct.
your waiver, so you're not going to ask for a waiver now? Is that correct?
Yes, item number 4.
Are you formally withdrawing it now, or do you want a continuation? I understand why you want a continuation.
At this time, I would like continuation because this is what we were explained in a meeting that we had with the staff and planning director.
May I clarify one thing, if I may? There are 2 types of open space. One is an open space, regardless of the lot width, that's required per each unit. And the second one is in addition to the required open space, and that gets triggered when the lot width exceeds 90 feet. In this particular project, the first open space, which is triggered regardless of the lot width, has been provided, but is slightly deficient. So we inserted a condition to provide the balance of that. The second type of open space which gets triggered with the increased lot width is the waiver that's being asked for. And our recommendation is to approve that waiver. So it's two types of open space.
Right.
They fall under different code sections, and there are different standards applicable to them.
That's correct. Right. One is required by the zoning, and the other one's just regular zoning code for every unit has a certain amount of private open space that you had versus your common public open space required for the lot width.
Correct.
Do you want to just read your findings that you have in your letter?
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to read the waiver portion that we're asking, basically.
Okay, so would you please state your name for the record?
Michael, I'm sorry, I'm the owner, Michael Asadurian.
Okay.
And, okay, so this is in regards to in addition, the code allows for additional waiver or modifications of development standards, which we are also requesting. The item includes the additional common open space. So what we have on our drawings, basically, or our plan, is, the code requires 200 square foot per unit. So 200 times 18, that equals 3,600 square foot. We are providing, or we're just able to just provide actually about 3,217 square foot instead of 3,600. So we are about 383 square foot short on the entire project. So divide that by 18 units, do the math, it's about what, 18 square foot, so like 3 by 6 square foot of additional common space is we're short. So that's what this waiver is about, basically.
Well, actually, that's one of the types of open space that's required.
Right.
The second one is the additional open space, which gets triggered by the increased lot width, and that amounts to, it's in the staff report, let me see where it's at, approximately 2,080 square feet on top of what you just described.
How come this thing was not discussed when we submitted the letter? I mean, how come this?
It was your request to request the waivers. The applicant makes the requests, and then we analyze them.
Okay, so what is the additional space required on this project besides the 3,600 common area? What does that amount to? What you're asking?
What's in the letter? What you're asking for is the additional open space, and we've analyzed that and stated the code section that is applicable to this, and that would amount to 2,080 square feet. There's a starting amount of square feet. There's a starting amount of open space, plus a certain percentage or a certain amount based on each foot over 90 feet in width of lot width.
So let me verify that this is the space we're talking about would be in the front set. It's the additional required open space located within the front setback.
The front setback wouldn't qualify for it.
Right.
It would be on beyond the setback, but it would be combined with the front setback.
Okay. All right.
So in other words, probably the building would have to be like U-shaped
In order to.
And that was the waiver that was asked for. The other one that's mentioned in the letter, the heading for it is additional common open space, but when the numbers are stated, it relates to a different code section. So the additional open space is what I just described, which is the result of the increased lot width, and that would amount to 2,080 square feet based on our calculations. The calculations that are in the letter relate to the common outdoor space regardless of
Okay.
lot width, and that's 200 square feet per unit, which would amount to 3,600 square feet. And in this case, it's already slightly deficient, and we said that has to comply with code because a waiver is not being asked for.
So in addition to the 3,600 square foot, we are required to have 2,080, another 2,080 square foot.
So altogether, about 5,000 some square feet
Okay.
of open space.
Okay, so what I'm looking at is condition 8, that the minimum required common outdoor open space of 200 square feet per unit shall be provided. So we are, we have a condition, so the only open space that was actually being considered today, once that condition's met, would be what they requested. That's the additional common outdoor open space required because of the lot width.
Yes.
Density bonus. Okay.
Exactly.
Well,
All right. So what?
this was not clear to us from the beginning. So that's why when we submitted this letter a long time ago, it's been months that we submitted this letter, this was not close to, it was not mentioned to us that we have to provide additional, 2,080 square feet.
Well, it must have been because you requested a waiver for it.
Well, the waiver is for the additional 3,600 that we're only able to meet 3,217, so we're short of 380. This additional 2,080, we were not aware of it.
So then are you asking for 2 additional waivers for open space or just one?
Based on our knowledge, we're asking for 1 waiver, but now I can see there's another issue here is the 2,080 square foot additional, which we have not discussed with the city about this, or they never confronted us with this issue until now. I don't understand why. This letter was submitted a long time ago. Why this issue is coming up now, I don't know. We could have met this thing very easy. So that's why I think we're reluctant to ask for extension in this case, because we need to evaluate ourselves. So this is something that the city did not disclose to us.
Have you read the proposed conditions of approval that are in the staff report? Have you read those?
Yes.
And you read the staff report?
Yes, but
It's in the staff report.
we're talking about codes and conditions here.
It's in the staff report and in the public notice that was provided.
Yeah, I have it here.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we're on an extension.
Okay, you're asking for a time extension?
Yes.
All right, I'll consider that. Next, I'd like to call forward Otranik Bedrosian.
Hi, my name is Antranik Bedrosian. I live in this property since 1979, almost 38 years. So we have a good neighborhood, but now whatever they want to do, the project they want to put in, it's not right because we have a school already. We have problem with the school for our attendants. They cannot park. And it's 1 hour parking zone. I don't see any police come and get kids. Should be with a permit ticket. And plus, we have daycare there. And if they're going to put like 18 units, where they want to park the people? So that's why I am here to stop this project, because there is no in Adam Street 4 level unit. There is none. They try to before to do that, they can't, but now I don't know how they got this again. So that's all. I am just want to know if this project, it's very, very dangerous for us because there is no parking. They don't care. They don't live there. And if you go see the houses, which they put this almost 8 years, 9 years, it's all destroyed. I called city. They come, they fix the roof. And if you go back on the property, it's hazard of fire. There's tire they rented for mechanics. They don't care because they don't live there. Wherever they live, I don't really care. But they don't take care of the property, nothing. No grass, no nothing, no everything. So that's all I have to do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And just to clarify that the project does meet the parking requirements provided by state law. So the city doesn't have a say on the parking requirements. Those are dictated by the state, and the applicant does comply with those. So I'm
Yeah.
not arguing, I'm just saying that those are the facts.
Thank
So,
you.
I'm sorry. All right. Next, Mary Baldwin, followed by Jennifer Barrios.
Hi, my name is Mary Baldwin. I live on Oberlin Drive in Glendale, and I just want to tell you that I oppose this project on every level, but particularly the green space. We're very short of green space in South Glendale. We have yet to see all the parks that we have been promised due to impact fees, and this is just another layer of too many people, too much building, and how the staff made the findings for this, I'm actually surprised at, because it's the concessions are ridiculous for this neighborhood that is overbuilt already. It's going to ruin some of our property values. I feel very sorry for the people who are going to be impacted by this. They're already impacted by the school. There's no public transportation that is close by. The train station is a mile and a half away. I find this to be just an egregious building project, and obviously by the confusion here, you can see that we're in for a roller coaster ride. They don't seem to understand what they are doing, and I find that the city needs to protect our neighborhood, from this kind of development. Thank you.
Jennifer Barrios, followed by Grant Michaels.
A little nervous. I'm Jennifer Barrios. I'm a owner in this neighborhood as well. I live on Garfield, right around the corner. And I just wanted to voice my opposition also to this project. We have a lot of building going on in this neighborhood. And I just want to kind of give you an idea of what our neighborhood looks like. I'm smack dab in the middle of two elementary schools that they're dealing with, driving and how parents drop their children off at school. Then there's the community college right there, who they don't have enough parking, so they're parking on our street. Then you have the medical building right across the street from that. In the community college, you also have a preschool, and there's a transkinder, or I think it's called a TK, at one of the elementary schools right there. So our neighborhood is hugely impacted already. It's congested. There's absolutely no parking. I have a teenager who in a couple years will probably be driving, and that's a concern for me. I have an 84-year-old mother who, when I bring her over, it's always like a game of moving the cars around to try and find a space on the street. All the residents, a lot of them will try and save parking for spouses or partners who live in the neighborhood. They'll park in the middle of a two-car space, so that when their family member comes home, they can then move their car forward. There's just absolutely no parking. I'd like to state that my children both are not bike riders, because I've been there for 14 years now, almost 14 years, and it's just completely unsafe. My children have almost been hit. There's so many driveways with all the building and congestion that's going on there. It's just a really unsafe neighborhood. 4-level structure does not fit our neighborhood at all. We have some older units, but this monstrosity across the street from the school just seems inappropriate, especially for the fact that it doesn't have the green space necessary. So parking, I noticed on the paperwork that there's no subterranean parking offered, and I heard you say that the 2 spaces that they're offering are what's allowable. But I have to say, from my own experience, we have 2 spaces, so as long as they don't have any visitors, birthday parties, aunts, uncle, grandparents trying to get to their house, because they're going to have to park a mile away, and it's usually on our neighborhood blocks in Adams Square in Mariposa Southeast. So rooftop, I heard rooftop green space, that doesn't add to the neighborhood at all. So, if they're going to build something there, it's unfortunate for the residents of the neighborhood. It impacts our parking. It impacts our quality of life. I fully oppose this project. So thank you for holding this hearing today. A lot of us gave up stuff to get here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Grant Michaels, followed by Rondi Werner.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Grant Michaels. While I am involved in many organizations, I'm speaking today as an individual and a resident at 2710 Piedmont. The first 3 conditions of the additional story the near doubling of the floor area ratio and the interior setbacks do create a project that adds to the mass and scale, particularly in this neighborhood. The fourth condition of the requirement of additional open space would have mitigated some of those impacts. The fact that they are asking for that now as a condition further exacerbates the mass and scale of the entire project. With the setbacks being reduced, looking at the renderings from street level and what would be viewed from the community, it is a large, massive structure. The argument that the applicant gave for the interior courtyard to provide open space for its residents to make that a livable space, if you applied that same logic from the community side, they are pushing to beyond the envelopes for the setbacks, and that logic then fails if you consider that from a neighborhood perspective. This project would be too massive, the scale is out of balance. We did hear talk of adding additional open space on the roof. I oppose that further because that would further exacerbate the height of the building, and the roof would then become active, as people have said, for noise and access. But that would essentially be a fifth story were that ground level open space be to be considered at essentially the fifth story of a structure. Thank you.
Okay. Then Rondi Werner, followed by R.P. Bedrosian.
Hello, I'm Rondi Werner. I'm president of the Adams Hill Neighborhood Association, the only neighborhood group in this part of Glendale. And I've been a resident of Glendale for over 30 years. This area of Glendale is over 80% multifamily housing. Single-family homes are few and far between, especially affordable single-family homes. What the report egregiously failed to mention is that 2 affordable single-family homes out of the 3 that are being slated for demolition are affordable. So to remove 2 affordable homes and add 2 affordable apartments hardly seems like a public benefit that merits all of these waivers and conditions. I strongly oppose any waivers or conditions that aren't mandated by state law because the public benefit is negligible. This project is yet another example of affordable housing being removed only to be replaced by mostly market rate units. There'll be 16 expensive units and then 2 affordable ones. That is hardly a benefit to the people of Glendale. Rents have done nothing but skyrocket as these kinds of projects have gone in, and this project is no exception. There was no financial data provided to support the claim that this additional waiver is necessary in order to make the development profitable. Now, I believe the citizens of Glendale deserve that transparency and should demand it. We urge you to protect the residents and local students from this inappropriate development that has substantial and significant negative impacts to traffic, parking, public safety for the residents and for the students who attend the nearby college and the nearby grade school. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Good morning. My name is R.P. Bedrosian. I'm the owner of 905 South Adams Street, and my parents reside actually at the property. I have actually grown up in the city of Glendale for all my life. The reason why I'm here is to oppose this project completely, due to the fact that not only are they building a 4-story unit, which typically, if I don't know if any of you have ever driven down Adams Street or have been there around 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and think about the amount of, there's no parking whatsoever. It takes me about 15 minutes to get out of my parents' driveway when I go ahead and pick up my kids after I leave work. And that's ridiculous. The school has caused already enormous amount of parking situations. Buildings such as this going up on Garfield and Windsor and Acacia. Every night we sit outside and we see people coming, parking on Adams Street to go around the corner to go to their homes, because actually they don't have parking spaces left on their side. Because if you put up 18 units, each household at the minimum will have two cars. My parents already have 2 cars there. I have my car. My husband has his car. So if there's enough parking as stated for 1 car, where are the other 18 cars going to park? We do have the children's child care center at the Glendale College facility, and our concern is, what happens to these kids? And you're adding another 18, if not more, families. Usually, if you rent to 2 people, there's usually 6 people living in that apartment building. Our other concerns are all these. Have they considered, like, when you put up a 14-unit building or a 4-story building up, and there is single-family homes around you, what happens to the sunlight? It's causing property values to go down. I'm very scared now to have my kids stay at my parents' house after school, because where are they going to go? They can't play outside anymore. You just added affordable housing units with, you don't know what kind of people are going to start living there. Glendale has been such a jewel, as we know, and it's known for its home, family-oriented, single-dwelling homes. And to bring another ginormous apartment unit in the smack dab of that small street that's already congested is absolutely ridiculous. And I completely oppose this project, 100%. And I'm not only speaking for myself and my father and my mother that live there. I'm also speaking for all the tenants, all our neighbors. Unfortunately, they're all mostly handicapped. They're elderly. They could not come today. I would have probably had the entire block here if they were able to come. So I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Is there anybody else here who wishes to speak? Yes. All right, then I'm going to call you up for rebuttal. You have 5 minutes for rebuttal.
No, I just want to make one correction the lady made. We are not actually replacing, there are no existing affordable housing there. We are not replacing affordable housing. We're just adding 2 affordable housing in there. There's no existing, none of the houses, none of the 3 are on government care or anything. So I just want to make that clear. So we are not replacing 2 affordable housing with 2 affordable units or something. That's not true. We are providing 2 affordable units, period. And we're not replacing anything. There's no affordable housing right now. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have did you want to respond to any of the other comments that were made? No? Okay.
Unless anybody wanted to respond?
You have 5 minutes. If somebody wants to respond to any of the other comments you've heard.
Let me bring some issues. It was brought to our attention that we're only providing 9 parking spaces. We're providing 36 parking spaces on the site. So that's more than sufficient enough per Glendale Municipal Code. We're required to provide 2 parking per unit, so we're providing that. As far as the setbacks is concerned, the gentleman mentioned that about the setbacks being closed. The first level, which is the garage, and the main reason we're doing the garage on grade is because we don't want to create when you do subterranean, you have to dig, you have to haul maybe about 100 or 150 trucks of dirt all going through the traffic as they indicated. So we're trying to avoid that. And then as far as the construction, during the course of construction, then you're going to end up doing, if you go subterranean, you have to do shoring and things like that. So it creates cost and it creates a lot of dust and it will impact the environment. So going back to the setback on the first level is 5 feet averaging. The second level is setback is roughly about 13 feet, and the third level is averaging about 13 foot 8 inches, and the fourth level is average about 14 feet. So we're not just crowding, and we're bringing and making the building like a pyramid. So as we go up, the setbacks are increased on the side, even though we're not meeting the setback requirements, but that's basically what we're doing. As far as the floor area ratio, one of the incentive was we're requesting the city code counts the garage floor area as a floor area. So when we adding the garage floor area, that's what we're exceeding the floor area ratio. if they didn't count that one, then we didn't have to go through this process. So they're roughly adding 13,000 square feet of a garage floor area as a floor area of the resident. So that was the requirement that we had to meet. That's all.
So you're telling me that the at-grade spaces are to make the project affordable. That's why you need it to avoid the cost of grading? Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly, basically.
Okay. And is that the reason then why you have a notice on your plan where otherwise you would have additional open space? You're showing parking.
Correct.
Is that to make it affordable?
Of course. I mean, that's the reason.
Okay. So that's what you're telling me, that the reason you're asking for a reduced common open space in the front of your building, why it's not connected to the front setback, is because you're using that area for parking.
Parking, exactly. That's what we're using, and the only reason we're doing it on grade is just try to first economically, and then for the environmental, because if you go underground, you have to do excavation and creating a construction costs will go up, and then environmentally we have to provide an environmental report and grading report and everything else. So that's the main reason that we're doing this.
Is your development located within a half mile of a bus stop? On
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
And you're providing 36 parking spaces?
We're providing 36 parking spaces. That's code requirement, and we are meeting all the code requirements as far as the parking spaces.
And you have 18 units for 36 parking
Correct.
spaces?
And we're providing 2 handicap spaces also on the site. So
Is that in addition, or that's included in
that's
the 36?
included in that. That's a requirement per state law.
And are you going to have any other spaces they're going to have for electric vehicles?
That could be a possibility. We haven't discussed that.
Yeah, that's state law too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the state law, if you're within half mile of a bus stop, you have a reduced parking need. So 36 spaces actually does exceed the parking requirement for minimum under state law, under SB 18 and subsequent amendments. My question for you is, when you had to make a trade-off between providing the open space or the parking, why did you choose the parking?
Well, as they indicated, people testified that there's a parking shortage on the premises. I mean, within the neighborhood, so it's best to provide a parking space.
Parking for your residents? Okay. All right. Are you still requesting a continuance, or do you want to proceed with this hearing? You want a continuance? Okay, I'm going to continue this hearing to a date certain. What date? Pick a Wednesday. We have next week is the 29th. If you want to meet on the 29th, is that suitable?
That's suitable.
Okay, then I'm going to continue this hearing, leave the hearing open. I'm continuing it to March 29th, date certain, at or after 9:30, with no further notice.
Thank you.
Okay. And we have no other items on the agenda. So with that, this meeting is now adjourned, and thank you for coming.